Hey y'all, today's herbal lesson I want to talk a little bit about a plant that's very common where I live. It is bergamot, or bee balm as we normally call it where I live, or Monarda as it's officially known, or sweet leaf as it's sometimes called. This plant has so many names, and it's completely different obviously from the bergamot that is a citrus that they make tea from. This is actually in the mint family. And you can see it has the opposite leaves and a square stem. That's always how we know mints. And then if you look at the flower, it does have a mint-shaped flower, although it's incredibly uh, ornate, I guess you would say. Mint flowers are usually small little blue things. And the bee balm where I live is usually red. In other places, or maybe it's just other varieties, you'll see it purple. We also have a very pale white, almost white. Maybe it's just such a soft lavender it looks white, but this is just all over the place in the woods. It smells fantastic. Bergamot is unique because it's not only a mint, so it has the essential oils of menthol. It also has thymol in it. It's actually very high in thymol, and the fragrance when you touch a leaf and smell it, it's just incredibly strong. And this is not an herb that's used a lot in modern herbalism, but it really should be. Okay. Um, Actually, the reason most people plant these, besides being ornamental, is this is probably the favorite flower of hummingbirds. There's a little wild spot that I keep, just wild in my yard. There's ostrich ferns, maidenhair ferns. I've got Turk's cap lilies, Solomon seal, false Solomon seal, tons of bee balm, phlox, just different things, whatever's kind of self-seeded over there. And the Turk's cap lilies are the ones that are native to our area, named after the botanist Andre Michaud, who discovered them in the 1700s. Wow, I can't imagine hiking around Grandfather Mountain in the Pisgah National Forest, Linville Gorge in the 1700s when there were no people. There were just no people there. I mean, the Watauga tribe wasn't in that area, and it was hunting grounds for several Native American tribes. Um, the Wataugas were a little further, mm, we'll say. Anyway, it just must have been incredible for him to stumble across these plants that no one had ever seen before in one of the most beautiful places on earth. And I imagine he must have feasted on bear meat constantly because we have so many black bear. It is incredible. Black bear and turkey and deer just everywhere. It's a wonderful place. Why I call it home. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the bergamot, or bee balm, as it's often called. Now, officially in modern herbalism, I'll give you the indications for use, virtues of the plant, as we say sometimes. Bergamot is often used as a domestic medicine. It's just basically a kitchen medicine. This is one you would use for your family. You're not going to usually find it in a tincture on a shelf somewhere. You might. It just depends. It's particularly useful for the treatment of digestive disorders. The leaves and flowering stems are anthelmintic, carminative, diuretic, expectorant, febrifuge, rubefacient, and stimulant. So this is one you would want to have, it's good for settling an upset stomach, it's good for coughs and colds, it's good for a lot of things. Rubefacient means it makes the skin red. I'll talk about that in just a little bit in a minute. It's the essential oils and they're very strong. And infusion is used for the treatment of flatulent colic and sickness. It is also used as a diuretic to treat urinary disorders. The leaves can be harvested before the plant flowers, or they can be harvested with the flowering stems. They can be used fresh or dried. And essential oil from the herb is mainly used externally as a rubefacient in the treatment of rheumatism. All right, so we talk about rubefacients, maybe two lessons back. Those are mild, we'll call them irritants. They warm and redden the skin. Why would you want that in rheumatism? Well, it's just like if you've ever used capsaicin salve or gel, it's basically cayenne pepper. It brings added circulation to the area. It actually wears out the pain sensors a little bit, and it brings relief, especially from stiff, aching joints and pain. So that's one of the primary uses for bee balm. But that's not all. That's how most Western herbalists use it today. It's actually very important to the Muskogee tribe. And I'm going to recommend this book if you're interested in learning about Muskogees. This is Native Plants, Native Healing by Tismal Crow. You can see Tismal. He's a medicine man, real deal. Okay. And they call it sweet leaf, and it's one of their primary herbs, so what they call one of their sacred herbs. And I'll just give you a few indications, just very briefly, of how they would use it. For lung infections, um, he says specifically the bee balm that has little white spots on the leaves that almost look like mildew. And these will be found growing side by side. I just happen to pick one that does not have that color pattern on the leaves. Is good for tuberculosis, lung infections, bird sickness. Bird sickness is something you can get from roosting birds. I mean, like chickens. You inhale the dust and the stuff of their feces, and it can cause a very tubercular-like lung infection, and this is very useful for it. Skin rashes, dermatitis, stings and bites, usually combined with St. John's wort. Um, uh, Useful for nerves, depression, anxiety, and insomnia. These essential oils are basically like aromatherapy. They're very calming to the nerves. They can help with anxiety. It's a very nice smell, I got to tell you. And remember, we said one of the properties of it was stimulant. Well, it kind of perks you up, okay? It stimulates the nerves in the senses that can be very helpful for depression, but they go a step further with the Muskogees using the bee balm the way maybe some tribes might use sweetgrass to kind of dispel melancholy. They smudge the room with sweetgrass to bring good energy into it, we'll say. Whether it's, getting rid of evil spirits if you want to go that far, or if it's just that a dark mood. And again, sweetgrass is very aromatic and very nice. It's a wonderful smell, in fact. They make baskets out of sweetgrass down in off the off of the island off of Charleston, South Carolina, where the gullas live, and they're just fantastic. If you ever get one of those baskets, keep it in your bedroom, and it's so nice to smell, and you probably will have better dreams and a better mood because of the aromatherapy value of such things. And we take herbs in tea or tincture, we're drinking them, we're ingesting their active constituents. But we do the same thing when we smell. We're actually ingesting the aromatic constituents. So it's not far out at all. I mean, scent is a way we interact with our environment. It's actually a way we consume an aspect of the earth. Now, essential oils that you buy in the store, I want to point this out. It's very important. Don't use them internally, okay? And don't use them undiluted. Now, there are some herbalists that use essential oils that say it's okay to use a little bit of essential oils internally. You know, if they think that, great. And maybe there are some. Okay, I'm not going to say they're wrong. I'm just to say it's really dangerous to make a blanket statement because they can be very toxic. They can be very poisonous. These are very, very concentrated. They don't occur this way in nature. I've seen so many people get, say, tea tree oil, eucalyptus oil. That's a really good example, and not dilute it in a neutral oil, say olive oil or something, and it just burns their skin. They swell up. It's just horrible. So anyway, essential oils and aromatherapy really are, powerful herbal medicine. Don't discount them just because they're not, tea or tincture form. But the Muskogees would recommend bee balm with someone that's died, or if someone has to be around dead bodies, you know, or an undertaker, or caring for a loved one, and the heavy depression that kind of settles in over time. Also very calming, soothing to the muscles. Like I said, for aching joints and rheumatism, they like to put it in baths. Um, they say it can actually help heal damaged or even severed nerves. And you would probably want to combine that one with St. John's wort as well, even though he does not recommend that here. Look into that because St. John's wort heals damaged and severed nerves. And if the bee balm or bergamot or sweet leaf or monarda or whatever you want to call it has a similar property, that combined action could be really valuable, especially in this day and age when we have so many injured veterans. Um, on the upside, we don't have as many casualties. On the other side, we have more severe lifelong injuries because we have better field medicine, and people who otherwise would have died in battle come back missing limbs and with severe injuries. And we see that a lot in North Carolina. Of course, we have a ton of military. Um, One of the uses that the Muskogee have for the bee balm is for burns. This is a really unique use, okay? I've told you before how if, say, you get a bug bite or you get a cut or you get a scratch, you can take some plantain, chew it up, put it on there, and it's called a spit poultice. It soothes and helps heal. Well, they do the same thing with the bergamot, but because of those essential oils in there, the action is very different. Remember I said it was a rubefacient? Well, it actually kind of heats the area. Well, that sounds crazy, right, for a burn. But actually, there's folk medicine in every culture in the world, all over the world, going back thousands of years, the idea of pulling the heat out of a burn. Scientifically, I can't prove it. I mean, you know, scientifically, Western medically speaking, I can't understand it. But when you figure that every single people in every tribe and every place of the earth has a tradition of drawing the fire out of a burn with all kinds of poultices, herbs, faith healers in the Appalachians. Some of the old traditions are actually kind of sucking, inhaling the heat out. How does it work? I don't know. Maybe is that the placebo effect? Is that, I don't know. Maybe, sometimes just really caring for someone helps them when they're in a bad place. But as far as this herb, the Muskogee definitely believe that the chewed herb, especially with your own saliva, can pull the heat out, but it shouldn't be left on for more than just a few minutes. Worth a try, you know? It's worth a try. I would like to give that a try next time I burn myself. Hopefully that won't be for a long time. And it also is used to break a fever, diaphoretic. They say it pulls the heat out of a fever, same way. But in that case, you're using it as a tea. Its warming properties are also used as a tea for hypothermia and frostbite. They use it for scars. Of course, it's digestive. It's good for the upper digestive tract, mouth, throat, and stomach. It's good for the lower digestive tract and urinary tract. We mentioned that. Good for the gallbladder, helps with constipation. Good for the kidneys and bladder. They say it's good for blood infections, syphilis, and gonorrhea. A strong tea has is used to treat both bacterial and viral infections in the blood. That could be very useful. Good for ear infections, ringing of the ears, and tinnitus or tinnitus, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Both are acceptable, by the way. Um, in that case, you're making a cold pressed oil used for ear infections. And it's good for relaxing sore muscles, and apparently can be helpful in appendicitis, but with appendicitis, you can die a very painful and horrible death very quickly. So if you have any symptoms of appendicitis, get to a doctor right away. And and they get into more of their traditional stuff. It's used in smoking blends with tobacco. I think that'd be very nice aromatic. It's combined with other mints to make a tea. Used as a cooking herb in soups and chili, and good to. They say it's a good seasoning for beef and deer roast, and I imagine it would be. Um, Apparently, elk roll in the plant when they're getting ready to mate. It's considered a love potion for elk. You can make your elk happy if you grow some. And smudge balls for sore throats, upper respiratory infections, and expectorant for loosening phlegm. And in that case, they're using, like I said, the sweetgrass. They're burning it and inhaling the vapors. And they include it in soap, in homemade soaps. It has some good antibacterial properties and a nice scent, and I think that'd be really nice too. So, don't overlook your bee balm. One, look, if you can't identify this in the wild, there's not much hope for you. Just not too many things that look like that. That is one crazy flower and such a nice plant. All right, y'all. Have a good one, and I will see you next time.